Chijaha! You again. Well, it is Friday, so I suppose it's time for Q&A and fan mail, starting with the ever-popular Q&A. But first, I would like to give a shout-out to the Central Mexico Nerf Club. One of their members was one of the first people that I did a commission for. The Spectre Titan was a build for him. And they now have a Facebook page where they post weekly videos of the wild and crazy stuff that they're up to. I'll have a link in the description. Hopefully I'll remember to do that. So, hello! Alright, on to the questions. Lightning Eagle 14. Asking my question for Q&A for the third time. Well, you finally made it. Okay, so I'm planning a mod. It's going to be a 2-foot diameter polycarb shield with manted dart zone blitzfires attached. What I'm wondering is, what is the best way to attach them to the shield? Hardware, epoxy, etc. I'm planning on attaching a foam sword to it. I also want the blitzfires to function as a grip for the shield, with the additional strap to keep the shield on your arm. The blitzfire and the shield are parallel. So it sounds like he's vaguely designing a lantern shield of sorts. Lantern shields, you can look them up. They were wild and crazy things. Nobody's entirely sure what they were for. Some say self-defense, some dueling. Some think they're just curiosities that the museum's made up for decoration. But they've got spikes and guns and lanterns and swords all strapped to a weird shield, sometimes with a gauntlet with spiked brass knuckles. Wacky stuff. But to your question, I would use metal brackets. You can either just buy some brackets at a hardware store, or you can just get some aluminum flat stock that they usually have in most hardware stores and just bend a bracket to hold them, because epoxy is not going to hold well enough for this. I would definitely go with some sort of a metal bracket that the blasters are bolted to. The rest is going to depend on the exact design of the shield. But yes, brackets and bolts is how I would go about it. Havoc Studios asks, do you think you could integrate a cassette deck into a Stampede? Well, as I have said numerous times, with enough epoxy, you can integrate anything into anything else. So yes, you could definitely use, like a small cassette Walkman would easily fit into the battery housing of a Stampede, which if you'd converted it to LiPo or IMRs, there'd be more enough room in a Stampede's battery housing for a small tape player. So yeah, you could. Seb Does Vlogs. Is it possible to Masterkey a long shot? Now, are you wanting to put a Masterkey on a long shot? Because, of course, they were pretty much the first ones to get Masterkeys. The Mav shot was an underslung Maverick on a long shot. If you want to use a long shot as a Masterkey, yes. I mean, once again, with enough epoxy, you can attach anything to whatever you want, bolts or straps, or I'm sure you could do it. I think it would be awkward, ungainly, and impractical, but I'm sure you could. Dina Eggleston, do you have a pet? No. Aiden Seeger. Hey Cap, I have a Raven in good condition. Would you like to trade for it? I actually have more Ravens now than I know what to do with. I've got 2 Elite Ravens, and I currently have 3 regular Ravens, so I'm good. But if anyone else is interested, apparently Aiden Seeger has a Raven. Therial Tactical Guru. Hey Captain, how are you? I'm doing well. It's Friday, work went pretty well. I've had an excellent week of tinkering, mostly with my Legos. There'll be some updates on that. I've got a date for Sunday, so I'm doing great. Jackson Nerf. If I send you a Strife, will you sign it and have all of the guys in your mod party sign it and send it back? I'm on a quest to have all of my favorite Nerf tubers sign it. Thanks. Jackson, absolutely. I would love to have it at a mod party here and have the Curator, Out of Darts, Walcom, Barrett, all of us, we'll all sign it. Just because that's neat. Shameless Chicken. What is your favorite Boomco and Busby blaster? Well, Busby is definitely the Sentinel, though we'll see what happens when the new stuff comes out later this year. As far as Boomco, I don't really have one. I've yet to actually run a Boomco blaster in a war, so I mean, I like the look of the M1 pistol or the M6 or whichever one, the Halo pistol. Both Walcom and Out of Darts run it as their sidearms because they're excellent. I've got a K26 one around here somewhere. I was actually really a fan of the Brute, though I didn't like the priming handle on it. I may change that, but yeah. Mocha Frappa. How about using the Nerf Judge as the base for a grenade launcher? When I first saw the first leaked picture of the Judge, and it was that back angle so you couldn't actually see what was in the cylinder, I was desperately hoping that it was a multi-shot rocket launcher. And tragically, it wasn't. But if I ever get my hands on one, that is what I plan to do with it. I would love to try to figure out a way to make a multi-shot or a revolver grenade launcher using the Judge, either by putting an XBZ in it or a Titan or some sort of an automated tank system so that you could just pump it up and fire. It would be slow, but it would sure be handy in a Nerf war where shields are allowed. Barbro Studios, Captain Xavier, Nightwing or Robin? Aren't they the same person? I thought Nightwing was the grown-up version of one of the Robins. I've never actually followed Batman's sidekicks very much, so I really couldn't tell you. Blair Buchanan. Have you ever tried to make a sledge fire with a sling fire primer with a removed stock? No. Johnny Miller. Hey, Captain Xavier, I'm wondering what type of D&D do you like? What edition, favorite character, custom campaigns, or pre-built modules? I actually started D&D in 1.0, in the old AD&D. So I actually know how THACO works because I'm a very old man. But most of the D&D that I've played was 3.5 or Pathfinder, which, you know, Pathfinder is basically 3.5.5. Or 3.75, depending on how you want to number it. And it's really the system that I preferred. I never got into anything after that. I quit, I moved away in my, having found a new gaming group since, so I never did 4.0, and I hear there's now a 5.0, but I still prefer 3.5 in Pathfinder. My favorite character was always a Dwarven Cleric. That's what I almost always played. And every Dwarven Cleric that I made, every new one that I made, was always the son of the previous Dwarven Cleric, which ended up coming up in campaigns more often than you'd think. It was kind of interesting knowing who my character's father, grandfather, and great-grandfather were. I did play in a campaign where I played one of the sons, and somebody else played the daughter of my previous Dwarven Cleric. And that led to some fantastic sibling banter and silly stuff that got brought up from previous campaigns, and then more stuff from previous campaigns that got in. We did kind of a combination. We sometimes did custom, and we sometimes did pre-built modules that led to custom, that led back into pre-built modules. It all kind of depended on who was running it, because we had two GMs that alternated, so we'd be playing one campaign for a while, and then we'd switch into a completely different campaign with different characters. So, yeah. Haven't played in a while. I'd love to find a new group. Ian Almighty, are you the Legend 27? No, the Legend 27's a cute blonde, if I remember correctly. If not, who is the Legend 27? Some cute blonde. Alejandro Gonzalez. Captain Xavier, is it possible to make a deploy good, and is there an end to your awesomeness? P.S. Is there also an end to your insanity to K26? JK, love your videos. Yes, it is possible to make the deploy fairly epic. I've seen people do, replace the internals with, like, long shot internals, but did it so that you couldn't tell, and I know that people have definitely done it with retaliators. And there are obviously mods that you can do to them. I've seen people who have done them into flywheel blasters and tried to make it as sneaky as possible, and I personally want to shove a Titan into one and make a magazine-fed sniper rifle out of it. That one wouldn't be so sneaky. Yeah, it is possible. As far as my awesomeness, no, my awesomeness knows no bounds, and I assume, well, actually, I don't know if my K26 will ever end, because I already have the next, 2 seasons lined up. Plus, they keep coming out with new stuff, so who knows? I may eventually run out of K26 ideas, and who knows what'll happen then. Ian Nielsen. In a mathematical scale of Colorado to triangle, what is your favorite numerical color of the alphabet? Use fruits and vegetables to describe. Orange. 9. What are your thoughts on a Hammer Prime Maverick / Strong Arm using the back half of a hammer shot and the front half of a strong arm with a drop clip mod? Somebody else asked this, and my first thought was, why on earth would you want to do that? You can get 8-round cylinders for the hammer shot, so But if what you're after is the drop clip, that might actually make it slightly more useful. I'm sure you could do the mod you're describing, because obviously they have 6, 7, and 8 round cylinders for the hammer shot, so getting a rotation mech that would line up so that you got the 6 properly, I'm sure it could be done, and I kind of like the idea of the drop clip, so somebody should try this and let me know how it works. Sebastian Hernandez, will you ever post the Lancer build part 2? Well, currently there is no Lancer build part 2. If I ever actually do get further on it, it's sitting on a shelf and has been for months. Yes, I will of course do a video and post it, but at this point it doesn't exist, so yeah. Astronautical. How old are you, good sir? I am as old as my tongue and a little older than my teeth. Wyatt Schaefer. Captain, what is your opinion on the Guten Tag? I assume you're referring to the weapon. It is a marvelously simple and brutal medieval polearm of sorts. Basically a very long club on a nice long handle with big metal spikes. Very, very effective against anything, even armored opponents. It's very, just because of the mass and the amount of force that you can put on a long-handled weapon. I still favor the bill as far as medieval polearms go, but the bill takes a lot more iron, as it were, a lot more skill to create, whereas any peasant could craft a crude Guten Tag and have it be very effective against even armored opponents. So it's good stuff. Pigwindici T, what is, in your opinion, the best barrel material? It depends on what for. If you're talking about, like, you want a single muzzle load type thing, then 17/32 brass gives the best seal. You can also use it for full sealed breaches, like the breech loader that I made for Ire, or for, you know, if you want to do a brass breach for a Stampede, or, you know, any magazine-fed blaster, you're going to use several different sizes of brass nested inside each other to actually get the full functionality. If you're meaning for just making a longer barrel that's not actually doing any kind of a seal, I know PetG works, and I know Worker makes barrel material. You can actually just use PVC. Anything that's loose enough to not cause too much friction as the barrel goes through, but large enough to not create too much air drag, because there isn't as much room. So, Drummer Pixel Shepherd, at least I think that's what it's supposed to say. There's not nearly enough vowels. Captain, do you have thoughts on a Dreadbolt Masterkey? No. Melee Man 452. If you were in a medieval Nerf war, what would you use in it? Is it really a Nerf war if it's just melee weapons? I mean, that's really more like LARP, unless you're actually limited to actual Nerf product, because there's not a whole lot to work with. There's the big mace, the big axe, a plethora of different swords, daggers, axes. Honestly, I would probably go with a pair of the longest swords available, especially if thrusting is allowed, because my preferred sword style is fencing, and a long sword would have much more speed and finesse than an axe or a mace. I'd have longer reach as well, though a small shield wouldn't go amiss. I do like the Stonewall shield, I think it's called. That and a long sword would probably be something that would work well for me. I do like throwing weapons, but none of the Nerf weapons are really good for throwing. They do have like just the grenade ones that came with the bayonet, which I never did get, and I regret. Yeah, longsword for duels. Isaac Moore, Q&A question. What would you do for a Klondike bar? I would go into an establishment that sells them, and I would exchange money for the Klondike bar. Cypress Gaming. Is there a South Florida Nerf location? Yes, it is called the South Florida Nerf Club, and you can find them on Facebook. Jesse Nunez. Cap, how do you know what parks you can Nerf in? Do they have specific ones or times? Unless there's like a city ordinance or something posted saying that you can't do Nerf, any public park should be Nerf legal. Now, things like state parks and national parks like Fort Worden, you need to contact whoever's in charge of the park and ask. They'll have an information center, they'll have a phone number, they'll probably have a website. contact them and find out what their rules are on the use of projectile things on their location, because they obviously aren't going to allow things like airsoft and paintball because they make a mess. But with Nerf, you can clean up your mess. But if they've had bad experience in the past of people not cleaning up, they may not allow it anymore. As far as public parks go, like ones with big jungle gyms, that's where we used to run our Nerf wars. It's perfectly legal, unless, like I said, there's a city ordinance against it. But do be careful of other park goers. It is a public park. You can't just take it over and force them out. And if there's lots of small children running around like toddlers and you shoot a bunch of them in the face, the parents are going to complain to the city and they're going to ban Nerf, and then you've ruined it for everybody. So be polite. Always look into it. If you're not sure, call the city, find out who's running the park, and contact them. You might be able to reserve the park for a certain amount of time. So yeah, research. Look into it. Rockin' the Charmer. Q&A. A tricky question. It's the son of my father, but isn't my brother. Well, assuming you're male, you. Lance Alderson. I know this guy. Question. What are your thoughts on skin-toned Lego minifigures? Good thing, bad thing, terrible abomination. My biggest complaint with the skin-toned Lego figures was the inconsistency, because some of the early Harry Potter Lego sets had the yellow tone, and then later they put out the pink one, and I think they later went back. Most of my Legos came from before the skin-tone Legos came out. In fact, I remember when the only faces were the plain smiley faces. I remember when I started getting things like beards and facial hair and was like, ooh, look at this. So the skin-tone stuff was always kind of I have very, very little of it. I've got some of it in the Harry Potter, and I think some of the Star Wars ones had skin-toned Lego figures. I don't remember exactly. Like I said, the inconsistency is what troubles me, because you've got a mix of yellow and skin tone, which just throws off the whole thing. So I only use the yellow because that's what I have the most of. The skin tone ones tend to get shuffled into a bin somewhere and ignored. So, all right. That's it. Out of questions. If your question did not get answered, try resubmitting it. I do 2 pages worth of questions. If I answered everybody's, I'd be here all day long. I try to do them in the order that they were submitted, and I pretty much only check the previous week's video. So if you post Q&A questions on like my K26 video or other videos that I've posted, they're not going to end up on this Q&A video. Only the questions that get asked on the previous week's Q&A get featured in the next week's Q&A. So keep that in mind. All right, on to the swag. All right, I have a number of packages, a couple of large envelopes, and a whole bunch of letters. So this is a good day for fan mail. One slight note, if you're going to send me fan mail, letters through the USPS do in fact require stamps. And if you're going to send something that's more heavier than just a single letter, it requires more than one stamp. The local post office is getting increasingly confused and amused by the fact that I keep having to pay the postage on things because my fans don't quite understand how postage works. Which, I tell them, I've got a lot of young fans who just have probably never learned how to send letters. So, if you're going to send me something, stamps. Yeah, stamps. Okay, let's read the letters first because that's really one of my favorite parts. Hello, Mr. Chaylo. I am the one known as Colton Means Libidinous. And I have really not been watching your channel for very long, but I have made up for it by watching and loving many of your past videos. Your mods are amazing looking and they function beautifully. I only hope that one day I can have mods anywhere near that good. I tend to also like medieval combat. My favorite weapons that were made by a certain group are definitely the Nordic weapons, and my favorite weapon of all is a toss between the war axe and the war hammer, pictured for specific styles included. Those are, in fact, lovely. I love these because I'm a 6'5" male and feel too big and clumsy for a sword, and these just made me feel much more at home. Anyways, keep up with your great mods and videos. After a long ramble of weirdness, I bid you adieu. Nerf on and eat popcorn. Colton Means Libidinous. I do like popcorn. I will probably have popcorn tonight. As I watch Guardians of the Galaxy, because I'm hoping to see the Volume 2 tomorrow with a friend. We may watch something else, in which case I'll be binge-watching the Pirates of the Caribbean series to popcorn instead. All right. Well, yes,
Nordic weapons were excellent. I liked them because they were very, very practical. Their war axes could be used to chop wood. The swords, obviously a sword is only a sword and is only good for being a sword, which is why I also favor more practical weapons like war hammers and bills and pikes and axes and so forth. War hammers are an excellent, excellent weapon, especially for someone of your size, because you have the length and the reach and the height and all of that allows you to really get a good swing with a two-handed weapon like a war axe or a war hammer. So I thoroughly approve. Thank you. I will continue to produce videos for you all to enjoy. Fragile, Mr. Chaylo Laurino. What do we have in here? Oh. Some of these Star Wars Battlefront 2 for the PC? That is awesome. I have it for the PlayStation, but I never had it for the PC. And I actually do have a PlayStation controller for my PC, but didn't have anything to play on it. That is awesome. Thank you, sir. And what do we have? Clanky bits. He sent me, ooh, coins. Liberty, justice, enduring freedom. I don't believe this one is legal tender, but this one is. That is the Eisenhower's silver dollar. I have a whole bunch of the bicentennial ones, but I don't think I have any non-bicentennial ones. Oh, good Lord. Silver trade unit, 1 troy ounce. 1986. I was 3. A Liberty dollar. That is amazing. And a Sacagawea dollar. I used to have a whole bunch of these. I used them at Ren fairs because they looked like gold coins, and it amused me. Thank you. That is going to be an amazing addition to my collection. And this is going to take up entirely too much of my time. You, sir, are awesome. I don't mind paying the postage on that one bit. All right, what do we have here? We have darts. I've been sent darts. Ah! Dart down. A little Valentine and a couple of strays, it looks like. All right, what do we got? Dear Captain Xavier, hi, my name is Cody, and I've been watching your Goodwill runs and Can It Take a K26 for almost 2 years. That's impressive, given that I've only been on YouTube for 8 months. Well, I guess if you counted 2016 and 2017 as 2 separate years. Anyway, I love watching your videos. Don't stop making them. Also, do you think you can get a Terra Scout or drone? Have you ever heard of Nerf Perks? It is a site where you can earn points and get Nerf guns for free. Someday I'd love to have either the Terra Scout or the Terra drone or their flying drone or any of those. I had one of the off-brand Terror tank things, but I didn't have a remote for it. But a friend of mine did, and we discovered one remote could control 2 drones, so I let him have it. I have heard of Nerf Perks, but I don't buy a lot of Nerf guns new, as you may have noticed, what with Goodwill and all that. So I haven't actually really looked into it because it only works if you have the new ones. But I definitely should look into it because I do occasionally buy new stuff, so yeah. Anyway, sincerely, Cody or Hardcore Gamer. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed. I will continue to produce it, and thank you for the darts. You can never have enough ammunition. Dear Captain Xavier, I have gained a lot of interest in your videos. I have autism, ADHD, and anxiety, which your videos really help with that. That is quite possibly the coolest thing anyone has said about my channel yet. I have anxiety problems myself, so. I sent you a package and a letter in the past 2 or 3 months. In May, I have ended my junior year in high school, and in August, I will be a senior in high school. I remember those days. I wasn't into Nerf at the time. I will be 18 by the time this letter arrives because my birthday is June 15th. Happy birthday! That was yesterday? I hope you had an excellent birthday. Hope to send more mail soon from Christopher Grimm. Well, that is awesome. Finding out that my channel is helping you with those issues, that is really, really cool. Thank you for the letter. Who do we have? Ah, no, leave off. Stop it. Thou shalt not. Come on. the letter. Aha! Dear Chaylo, hello, my name is Jace, and I live in the tiny little state of Rhode Island. Yes, Rhode Island. I'm sending you this letter for a few reasons, really. The first reason, Keyblades. Yes, Keyblades. I'm currently working on a Kingdom Keyblade to use as a melee due to the fact that my custom foam katana snapped in two at the last HVZ event last week. Why am I bringing this up? To brag? Yes and no. I also contacting you about this because I have no idea how to holster or sheath the thing. It's so big that I can't use my old sheath for it. You might look up sheath designs for either claymores or greatswords. Both of those are enormous blades, and the sheath design is very different than a standard sword sheath. They tend to have hooks and then a cup on the bottom that holds the bottom of the blade, and the hooks go on the quillion, and then you just pull it up and then release it, and it works. I would look into that. There's a number of ways you could do that fairly simply and fairly cheaply using like PVC or something. So, secondly, mods and paint jobs. I've decided to go with your route and name my primary a modified rapid strike with a select fire kit. Where do you get the select fire kits? I want one. Anubis. Why Anubis? Well, he's the Egyptian god of death. He oversaw the mummification process, protected cemeteries, and weighed the hearts of the deceased against the feather of truth. I'm protecting the dead by sending them back to the grave, and in PvP I send the souls of those that I kill, to be devoured by Amst. Included is my idea for a paint job. Tell me what you think. It's on the back. The other idea is separate. Tell me what you prefer as well. Thanks, Jace. Dump Truck Gaming. P.S. Sorry for the handwriting. I recently sprained my wrist in HVZ, and people tell me that my armor is unnecessary. Ha! Not that my armor would help against a sprained wrist. Purple, gold, and black. Debating between purple and sandstone for the base color. Please send this one back. Anubis on the other side. Anubis. I like the purple and gold, honestly, with the sandstone, just because it feels very Egyptian. Definitely like the purple accents and the black accents. That I would go with this one definitely, if you want my opinion. Is it possible to only upgrade the pusher for a higher rate of fire and keep the stock flywheels? Maybe. The downside is if the rate of fire gets too high, the flywheels might not be able to keep up, and it'll end up either having a massive dip in range or it'll jam altogether. You pretty much need to upgrade everything at once, or at least you're going to need to run stronger batteries. I usually run 3 IMRs in a rapid strike. Since it has the 3 motors, it spreads out the voltage and doesn't burn out things as quickly. Like if you put 3 IMRs in a strife, it'll burn out pretty quick. But I haven't had that problem with the rapid strikes on account of more motors. So that's my thoughts on that. Yeah, if you want me to mail this back, I definitely can. I could also scan it and just email it back to you if that works as well. Let me know. Send me an email or something. That is really, really cool. I dig it. I know somebody who would definitely approve of the Keyblade idea. That sounds like something that John would love. And yeah, look into the idea of a back holster for it. So, okay, last letter. Hey Chaylo, my name is Chandler and I am 13 years old. I love your channel and I have been subscribed since 17,000 subs. Keep making the great videos and entertaining us all. I would also love to know how much it would cost for a brass and K26 Night Finder. I used to have them on my Etsy page. I swear to gosh, I will eventually get my Etsy page back up and running and actually have stuff on it again. Still have not been able to crawl out from under all of the various projects and commissions and whatnot in order to fully inventory and get my stuff going again. I did actually get all of my single shot stuff inventoried, so I may go ahead and get those reactivated on my Etsy page, but frankly, I have barely had enough time to do any of the things that I want to do, much less doing stuff for my Etsy page. But give me time. Give me time. I'll let you all know when there's stuff on Etsy again, and they'll probably be gone 5 minutes later. So, all right, packages. Let's get into the packages. Let's take a look at what we got in here. We have Matthew Sweet. I have no idea what this is. I assume music. Very cool. Very cool. Is there a note? There is No note. I have been sent a pair of mixed CDs. Cheap Trick, the greatest. Cool. Sweet. I have something to listen to while at work, and hopefully, if I ever get the speakers in my car working again, listen to while driving around. So, whoever you are, and for whatever reason you've sent this, I thank you. Music. I do love music. All right, what do we have here? Oh, good lord. Ah! I have no idea. Before you start commenting, that's not a real address. Dear Captain Xavier, I'm sorry this parcel took so long to send out, but I was waiting on something to come in the mail, and then I could send it to you. Since you so kindly complimented my handwriting after my first letter, I thought it would be only fair to share my secret. I had terrible handwriting for most of my life, and it was only got worse with my growing dependence on computers in my adult life. Then, about 2 years ago, I bought a fountain pen on a lark, and it was a total game changer. The smooth glide of the nib across paper and the minimal pressure required allows you to hold the pen in a much lighter grip, which is, for me, conducive to good form, and it is far more comfortable for extended periods of writing. I hadn't considered that. In the package, you will find a steel fountain pen and a small vial of ink. You, sir, are awesome. A little goes a long way with a fountain pen ink, so this small amount should last you a while. It's an aggressively permanent ink, so do be careful. The pen is a device called a converter, which can be accessed for unscrewing the handle of the pen. Twisting the screw on the center draws ink into it. Super cool. I've always wanted a true fountain pen. As we discussed, I've sent the plunger assembly from a Rapid Fire Tech. The fastener was fitting inside, and I'm pretty sure it had spiders living in it at one point. The dirt came off easily, but it took a lot of WD-40 to clean the rust off the spring. I have degreased it with alcohol, so it shouldn't be a problem for O-rings. I hope you can put all these things to good use, and I look forward to more videos. Rock on! Sager Bear? P.S. The Gould Pen Company YouTube channel has a ton of good information on fountain pens and inks. Okay, well this I have to see. Ooh. Good Lord, that's pretty. Check this thing out. He has sent me a true fountain pen. And this is the ink. That is amazing. The one downside is I'm left-handed. And fountain pens often don't play nice with lefties because unlike right-handed people who you're drawing it, left-handed people are pushing it, which tends to cause it to spat. This is one of the theories as to why Leonardo da Vinci wrote backwards, because if you write backwards, then you're pulling it like a right-handed person. And I actually taught myself how to do that, because I used to make quill pens out of feathers for my medieval stuff, and I ran into the problem of it was a pain to try to write forward, so I taught myself to write in reverse, just to be contrary. So I may have to either learn to do that, or hopefully the website you have might have some advice on how to write with a quill pen left-handed, because I never actually researched it. So that, sir, is gorgeous. Thank you so much. And parts. Oh, there's. Ah, I see. Yeah, you taped all the parts together. Awesome. That is entirely cool too. Plus, darts. They're old streamlines, but you can never have enough ammunition. Oh, there's more parts. I missed it. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. All of the rest of the bits. Excellent. Thank you. I can hopefully fix my blaster and maybe not break it this time. Or possibly use this one to cast a metal one. Sweet. Cool stuff. I love my fans. You guys spoil me and you are awesome. Okay, let's go with the little one. I didn't get a knife. Note under flap. Aha! Chaylo, my printer stopped working. I hope you enjoy the internals in your gear up. Can't wait to see what you send. Daniel. Gygax Eiffelwine. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, this fine fellow has sent me a metal internal kit for the Recon. It doesn't appear to be the full metal kit that the Curator has. It doesn't have the metal trigger, but it does have a metal bolt and bolt sled. So yes, this will be going in my Gear Up Raider, which I will then probably get a pump grip kit for, and I will have an excellent War Primary Recon, which is just entirely too cool. Cool Nerf. Very, very cool. Yes, I will send you back the one I had. I know we discussed some other stuff. I'll have to check the email and see what all we agreed on for this trade, but that is fantastic, sir. That is awesome. All right. Next, copious amounts of tissue paper and a box of the remains of a Snapfire 8. I seem to vaguely recall somebody contacting me saying they'd opened it up and then couldn't figure out how to get it back together. And it sounds like something I would agree to fix. So, worst case scenario, I send him one of mine and keep the parts. So, that will be fun to fix. I like putting blasters back together, especially ones that I haven't tinkered with a whole lot. I mean, I opened up one of these for a K26 episode, but that's all I've done. So, that will be fun. Final package. What do we got? It's big, it's long, it's important looking. Look at that. That is pretty. And it works. Good Lord. That is really, really pretty. This fellow posted a couple of his paint jobs on one of the Nerf boards that I'm on, and I complimented them because they were gorgeous paint jobs with faded different colors and metallics and just excellent, excellent stuff. And he asked if I would like to have one of his Firefly Modulus integrations, and I said sure, not thinking he was just gonna up and mail it to me, but apparently he did. That is really, really pretty. I'm gonna have to run this in a war just because it's so darn pretty looking. Thank you again. That is beautiful. I will let you know how it performs in the next Nerf war I go to. I might be going to one this weekend. It depends on whether or not any of the other guys I Nerf with are planning to go to it. If not, I will do other things with my dime. So, alright. This is entirely too much cool stuff, you guys. You guys spoil me and make me feel like a celebrity. The list of things that I need to get done is growing endlessly, but you guys keep me going because this is just too cool. If you want to get a hold of me, my contact information is in the description box of all of my videos. If you want to email me, if you want to send me something, if you just want to send me a letter, feel free. I'm currently still not taking commissions. I just do not have time. I'm still buried in other things, and I can't seem to get out from under. Walcom S7 is now taking commissions, though, but do please watch his commission video and listen to what he says, because if you don't, he's not going to probably even respond. you need, if you want to have a commission from him, or if you want to, when you want commissions from me when I open up again, you need to do the research on what exactly you want done. Which blasters, what internal parts, from what places, all of the cost, put together a spreadsheet with the part, the cost, and where you can get it from. Have that all lined out, do the research yourself, and send it to him, because he doesn't have time to do all that research himself, just like I didn't. That's why I started asking people to do the research, because when you get 130 requests a day, you don't have time to go out and research all of the parts for all of them. That would take all of your time, and you'd never actually get around to doing it. So if you do the research, it's going to take 10, 20 minutes of your time, and that way he can just look at it and go, yes, this is a commission I will do, or no, this is a commission I won't do, and he can actually get back to you. So keep that in mind when you are asking anybody for commissions. You really should do the research first. And quite frankly, if you're not able to, because you don't know how or you don't understand, you probably shouldn't be having a heavily modified Nerf blaster in the first place. So do your research, know what you want, send the exact list. That way he can actually, hopefully, take your commissions. And when I open up again, I will be expecting the same thing from my fans. I may produce a template spreadsheet that you can just fill in all the stuff on, but we'll see when I ever get around to taking commissions in. So, if you have any comments, concerns, put them in the comments below. Also, if you want a Q&A question for next week's Q&A, put it in the comments of this video and not some other video. I do them in the order that I get them, and I do the first 2 pages. So get your questions in early, and you'll get them answered. So, awesome. Thank you guys again for all of this cool stuff, and as always, thank you for watching.